Brant DXT grain carts have efficient unload speeds, large carrying capacities, unmatched durability, and reliable components that make sure your cart is working when you are. Lead the field with DXT grain carts from Brant. Visit your local Brant dealer for more information.
Farm Credit Canada and Results Driven Agricultural Research, better known as RDAR, have announced the launch of Root, a generative AI tool for farmers. And joining us here on Real Agriculture now to discuss this tool and the role generative AI tools like Root could have in farming in the future here in Canada and across North America. We're pleased to welcome Mark Redmond. Mark is the CEO of RDAR. Thanks for taking the time to join us today, Mark.
Thanks for the invitation.
Tell us about Root, this generative AI tool that FCC and RDAR have put some work into.
Well, the heavy lifting to date has been done by FCC. So last week at Stampede, we announced the signing of a memorandum of understanding that will actually bring RDAR into the Root development program to actually help inform the artificial intelligence, the large language model, as the terminology goes, to expand the database and the information that's available in Root today.
So what kind of information is in there right now? I guess FCC has put some in there from its perspective, and RDAR, you're a research-based organization looking to share the results of your research and make that convenient for producers?
That's right. FCC developing Root had gone to the internet and other sources of information to build out the Root database. Listeners today can actually access Root. You can go to, if you just search FCC and Root, it will bring up the FCC website, and you can actually use the system to engage in a chat with the Root system. So FCC's base to this point has been very broad. So if you search, for example, kochia, it will tell you a lot about the weed and the control. But it doesn't have the specifics to allow you to actually do a deep dive into what the producers need to know in their busy lives. Who can actually help me with controlling kochia? What resources are available for financing different approaches to combat kochia and to go deeper. So RDAR, we're about to celebrate our 5th anniversary of incorporation. We were founded in 2020. So we've actually funded over 500 research projects. So as the background to those research projects, the researchers and farmers have given us a great wealth of information. So our objective is to now upload the public forms of the research into Root and actually then allow the producers to make an inquiry into how to address specific problems. So we've heard that producers today, they don't want to learn, or they don't have time to learn a lot of complexities in terms of how do you input questions. So that's where the chat form of AI is really useful. If you're simplifying the front end, though, you need a lot of sophistication in the back end. And so RDAR's team of researchers and our research reports are going to help inform that particular aspect of the work. So you're going to be able to probe very deeply into questions. So example, Kel and I were chatting just before we were recording here. We were talking about problems that producers face at times of drought. And 3 or 4 years ago, we actually saw a herd of 50 animals die in northern Alberta because they were eating feed contaminated with nitrate. So RDAR commissioned a project to develop a producer-driven test or producer-usable test for nitrate contamination in feed. The work was done. It's available. We actually demonstrated it recently at one of our field days. But the information is not broadly available to producers. So today, or soon, I won't say today, a producer will be able to go in, put in, I'm concerned about nitrate poisoning in my livestock, and Root will spit out the information in terms of, okay, these are the tests which are available. Here's an expert who can help you. Here's the cost of the test. ROI is always important. And tell you actually how to go about with that testing process. So that's where we'd like to go with this. given the depth of our research database, you'll be able to go in and ask questions on, for example, beneficial management practices. We also run the On-Farm Climate Action Fund, OFCAF, for the federal government. So they have a series of BMPs which producers can use for adjusting nitrate inputs, rotational grazing, cover cropping. You'll be able to delve into those BMPs and find out what would be available, what would be applicable in your particular area. But then what's more important, who can help fund me doing some of this work? Who can lower the barriers to adoption? The program actually will do it today to a limited point. They'll tell you where the funding sources are. And even better, there is the capacity in these systems to help you fill out the forms. As you know, filling out the forms is a chore. AI can really help take those tasks off your table.
Do you see other organizations, agencies, institutions coming on board and also having their data placed into this portal of information?
I think there is a real potential to do that. Certainly, having quality data is the key. And so that's where the curated form of the data that's uploaded is really essential. So RDAR, because we have our own data management system, is ideally placed to upload. If there are other agencies who can offer that similar qualified data, the system would be amenable to that. RDAR has an ongoing relationship with FCC, so that's where we actually stepped up early to help them with this particular initiative.
Okay, so is FCC taking the lead though in terms of operating it and maintaining it and kind of curating it, to use that word that you use?
Yeah, they are doing those roles, and that's actually one very important part of any AI or data-driven initiative in terms of where is the data stored. So FCC is a Canadian institution, data stored in Canada. We understand the data protection practices. So Google or other systems are not going to be scraping the data out of this system. You will require a relationship, Canadian relationship, to access the data. So data security, data ownership, we're all looking at those as potential risks. And so FCC, being the curator of this, is going to help address those issues.
Okay. I think that also maybe is part of the answer to another question that came up was why not just put your information on the internet and let ChatGPT and Gemini and the mainstream AIs from the big tech companies find that information and convey it. But I guess that curation aspect is a differentiation of Root versus some of those mainstream AI platforms.
Yeah, I think many of us have tried ChatGPT and Copilot and the other systems. The validity of the answers you get is always requires some further due diligence, and so that's where Root actually is offering that security in terms of the answers you're getting have been viewed and vetted.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What do you see as the next steps in this? Basically, just continue to feed new research results from RDAR's perspective into Root?
So, I mean, the value of getting in early, working with FCC, is we can use iterative improvements. So, as we upload data, we can test the system to see how well the information is retrieved, how well it's received. So, we will be going out to a number of our producers who've received RDAR funding, who we know are good researchers in terms of good inquiring minds with curiosity and see how the system works. And so a big continuous improvement system. It will take a little time to upload all of the project data we've got. So we'll triage which projects are going in to really respond with the immediate needs. So if we think about livestock crop productivity will always be front and center, but RDAR is also functional in water management practices. So uploading some of those data and procedures will be useful at this time. We do hope, as the use of artificial intelligence expands, we are being swamped, or producers are being swamped with the volume of data that's accessible to them today. And we've recently funded a project in the irrigation area, which is going to help address that in terms of, if you think about a farm in southeastern Alberta, they're looking at meteorological data, they're looking at water supply data, they're looking at the feeds for their pivots. They may have water sensors in the field, looking at the crops which are there. They've got all this data and all these decisions. How do they actually make sound or the best decision they can? And so bringing together all that information to inform decision is going to be key for the future. And so that's where we really see artificial intelligence coming forwards. And so we've got a project running between Lethbridge Polytechnic and University of Alberta, led by Dr. Apples. And the role there is going to be, how do you integrate all of this data into a meaningful decision in a very timely manner? And so we do see all of these AI systems, and that's where RDAR has a strength in terms of being able to join points in a network so that these systems are able to talk to each other, but a producer can also see, okay, I can take a route-driven decision, I can take the AI systems produced with our work with the post-secondaries and actually combine them then into something that's usable on farm. So one mantra that RDAR has really taken ownership of, we talk about the final mile. And in the past research, or even algorithms such as the one developed here by FCC, they're available, but they're not put into the hands of producers, so they're not put into use. So that adoption is really what drives our mantra in terms of improving profitability, productivity on farm, really making sure that the producers are maximizing the benefits which are available to them today.
Mm-hmm. This might be more of a question for the folks at FCC, but can you speak at all to whether sources of information will be referenced in the output from Root, as to whether it's an RDAR project or whether it's potentially a RealAg article, or depending what the input data is that the AI platform will be drawing it from?
Yes, actually, as I've been working through the current version of Root, the system is really good in terms of giving accreditation to where data came from, and I think in part that does lead to how valid is the data and trustworthy is the data, but also it's already presenting that beachhead of information in terms of who can I go to for more advice. So that example I was giving you earlier about kosher, you actually can use mills on the back, impact mills on the back end of a combine. Okay, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. Well, it tells you Redicop Industries in Saskatoon. I'll advertise a Canadian company. They're not the US competitors. They're manufacturing such a mill. Okay, I'll tell you what the price is. And then it also tells you a Agriculture Canada scientist in Lacombe is piloting one of these projects. And so getting those linkages so that it's, where I like that particular example is it's telling you answers to the three questions I hear producers asking in terms of how much will it cost me to acquire this innovation? What's my ROI? Well, I can tell you it will decrease potentially weed seeds by 95%. So you can do the calculation in terms of reduction in crop protection products. Who can help me? Well, this scientist in Lacombe can help me. So that is building out a repository of information that you can then work with in terms of adopting those changes.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Anything else to add then, Mark, as we continue to see AI tools rolled out, and this one specifically for the Canadian market and RDAR's work in Alberta?
I think it's just a great opportunity for the producers to explore their curiosity, and actually beyond that curiosity, how can they actually begin to adopt change, and how they can actually find assistance in getting that change, be it funding, be it finding other people who've been using those practices. It's really developing a brand new extension system for Alberta and for Canada, because the beauty of the system here, FCC is a national institution, and what we're learning here will be spread across the country.
Yeah, it is certainly a new chapter in the extension world as well, in terms of how information is conveyed, and like you said, that final mile, that implementation step to boost profitability and productivity at the farm level.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity. So if the listeners would like to try it today, it's like FCC Root will take you to the question page. It works on your phone as well as your computer. So you can begin to probe it, and certainly if there are questions and feedback that we can receive, you can contact us through our website, rdar.ca, and we can certainly look to learning from the listeners and others as they work through the system.
All right. Thanks for your time today, Mark.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Kelvin.
For the latest ag news, agronomic advice, and more, check out realagriculture.com and Real Ag Radio.